Tomorrow we will use STS IDE. Okay, please download that, and I will try to use IntelliJ also. Maybe let's have both Spring Tool Suite and you can download IntelliJ as well. IntelliJ. Spring Tool Suite is having the Spring Boot integration, Spring Boot plugin. So easily you can create. Here you don't have Spring Boot option. Na? In project creation you don't. Hmm. There that is specially designed. Yeah, you can add that. I never tried because STS itself is more comfortable for Spring Boot projects. So I prefer that. So all the updates also automatically it will get if you open, right. Sorry. That is having each concept and example like a material. Yeah, you can download. Yes, you can copy and paste it into any of your folder and extract it. That is attachment involved. So yeah, this is STS. So here the full Spring capability is given. Okay, sir. So just during creation of project, it will ask you to Spring Boot project, and step by step it will ask, and it will show all the dependencies as well. So it's easy to create project without a Spring Initializer, right? Usually we use Spring Initializer to create project and import. That initializer also not required. Yeah, anyway, that we will see. Today something we thought to discuss, right? MVC with the stereotype annotations, right? One controller we used. Thereafter, uh, yeah, Jason. Let me see. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So if I go to the same application, there it is, SMS, right? SMS. Yeah. I will write one more controller here. Student controller with stereotype we have. Mm, yeah. Let me write one more controller, something like books controller. Books controller. Yeah, timing I don't want any services. I'll just return static response. When somebody call book.rbu, I want to send response, a book object I want to send. Maybe class book private string name private string price Spring Boot microservices, $70. So I want to send that book object. Book. How to create inner class object? Outer class dot inner class. Okay. New book. So book dot set book name already there, right? Okay. No issues. Same book as a response I want to send. So here use response body and keep this book as a return type. Okay. So get book. Have a simple method get book. This should return a book object. Yeah, it will give the response in the this object. It will convert as a response based on your need. Let's say if you configure here produces, consumes, producer and consumes we can use. No, here itself we can configure within params. By default, I believe it. mm, in REST controller scenario, we never use this response body, but I am using controller. So I want to check how it will work. So by default, JSON it will compose, I believe. So to send that, this is object. So that object to convert into JSON, I'm using response body. So if I run this, yeah, REST controller by default will wrap everything as a JSON. So let's run this. So I have a different request for books. SMS slash book dot rbu. If I request SMS slash book dot rbu, this is a get call. Not acceptable 406. So it is saying you can't read that data here. Let me use Postman. Yeah, 406. I want to make same request from Postman. Uh, this is to test our REST calls. That is not though REST, but let's see. Okay, so I'm getting same not acceptable. By default, it should return. Return. Do I need to configure anything in data bind library dependency? Code is fine. Let me add this schema. Just a minute. Let me copy this namespace schema. MVC. Yesterday I was telling, right? One tag we missed here. MVC annotation driven. While using full length MVC annotations, keep this schema as well. MVC schema. So if you see one more schema, extra schema we added. MVC schema to activate MVC annotations. If you see this MVC annotation driven will activate response body all the annotations. Whereas this one is activating few annotations. You can get it from MVC. Yeah, I copied actually from this tutorial point. Yeah, tell me. Hello. Go go ahead, Dheeraj. Tags, your tags, your see, schema is to validate your XML tags first. Right? So I'm using some XML tags here, beans, something. Is this tag is allowed or not? How Spring knows? Against this schema, XML schema only, it will validate. Here you added beans schema, right? It will go to that schema file and it will verify this tag is there in that schema or not. This is like import. You can imagine in Java, this is like import. When you write something here, collection, utils, something, array list. Is this array list is available to it or not? Via import, it will say this is available. Yeah, sorry, not list. Bean. Beans is the main trend. Yeah. So the tags validation will happen. Tags validation will happen with the schemas. No, even for the default tags also. See, this is the default namespace, and this is the nested tags means tags inside tag. You are saying right? Tag and child tag. Hmm. Yeah. So here you will be having many bean tags, and within the bean tag you have many again import tags. There are lot many tags here. So whether the tags you can use or not will tell by whom the schema only. Schema is having all your tags addresses. So they will validate your tags whichever you are adding here. Okay. So without the tags you can't validate it. Huh. So I need to activate MVC annotation. Here I am using response body, right? So this response body is not activated by this annotation. For this one, with this one it is not activating. Just, just a minute. Just a minute. So this is our previous schema. Okay, let's add this MVC. Oh, it is there. Okay, let me add this manually. Add MVC namespace first. MVC namespace and its schema location. This is the XSD schema location. So let me add at the end. Now this is fine. Annotations actually you need to activate. There are annotations, many annotations in Spring, right? Until unless you say activate that annotations will not be loaded. So as soon as you use this, right, Spring will load these annotations. When you configure annotation config, it will activate your lifecycle annotations and auto-wired annotations. Otherwise, auto-wired is not applicable without this. There are some factory bean classes designed to activate your annotations. Without calling that factory bean classes, you can't utilize this annotations which you have used so far, auto-wired, all such annotations. You should activate them. Manually, you should activate them by configuring it. So when you configure tag means tag will do nothing. As soon as this tag is loaded into your IOC container will recognize your requirement. When you configure this context annotation config, it will understand, okay, he is asking to activate annotations, MVC annotations or context annotations. So then it will activate them. Let me rerun this, okay. There is a programmatic way of annotation activation. Uh, Generally, in old framework, we used to do that. For every annotation, we used to write an activation class also. Slash, okay, we have postman, right? Let's hit. Come on, please, 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 please. Oh, everything looks good. It should give actually response body back. By default, did I added all the library? Some JSON libraries will be part here. We have jar files. So it will expect the JSON data binding. So we need, I think, the jar files also. Let me add them. this. How do I get it? Or such. Maven repo. This PC users public M2 inside com dot faster XML com faster XML. Yeah, Jackson Jackson core. Let me copy this jar file and keep it into lib. So Jackson core is done. Jackson core, Jackson data bind, Jackson annotation. Jackson data bind, Jackson data bind. So it is asking to add them. So by default, it will convert JSON. Jackson data bind is done. Annotation. Let's see our luck. Fine. Not getting data. Still seeing the same issue. It's not RB. Not accept. What else configuration required? Request mapping also fine. Response body fine. MVC annotation driven should be fine. Yeah. Explicitly, do I need to put consumes and produces? Let's see. Let me add consumes and produces. Consume and produce. MVC. Just add this. It is not allowing this. Attribute must be there in request mapping. Oh yeah, this is okay, but still produce syntax is not correct. Producers, get mapping not there. That is available in Spring Boot. As you said, producers consume should allow here. Why it is not coming? Request mapping. Browser not accepting. So here accepts putting everything for application.json. Simple get call. Parameters authentication, no authentication required, no parameters required. JSON map. Do we have this annotation? No. So what else we can try? But curious why this request mapping is not allowing this consumes and produces. Attribute itself is undefined. Media type HTTP application JSON value. But parse media type. So this is something different, not allowing maybe in this version which we are using. That is the problem. Okay, no problem. So this is the way that we write, but something happening with your libraries. Maybe clean and deploy might work. If not, okay, let's leave this. Tomorrow I'll try one more time, and yeah, I'll prepare this example and come to the session. So I'll show you uh, what left. I want to show this with JSON or Ajax call, right? And basic security we will add with validation. Okay, so that I will do tomorrow. Give me time till tomorrow. We will close and we start Spring Boot. Okay, like, I'm not able to proceed here. We will see this tomorrow. Okay, na? Friday. I just want to see one complete security example, Spring Security with the basic authentication and with Ajax call. Okay, end to end one application we will do. Tomorrow we'll spend 1 hour, 1.5 hour, and we'll do one complete use case, get to post. Tomorrow, a basic example. I don't want to go in depth into it. A basic authentication example with exception handling and basic run operations. Okay. We'll see depth discussions about transaction security in boot. Not Spring security with MVC. This one we will see. Dispatcher servlet. Okay. Then we will implement abstract annotation config dispatcher servlet initializer. Then security filter chain. The basic authentication request matches. This is for authorization. And this is role checking. And here we have interceptor patterns for authorization. And this is yeah, same authorization only. Authorization roles checking, authentication happening here. So we can get object and check that object is having right credentials or not. Yeah, we'll go through it, okay, as much as possible, and we'll close this discussion. Yeah. Okay. Which document I shared in the, which one you are asking? Which I shared in the WhatsApp? Okay. Okay. Yeah. You ping me, I will add there. 91826624. Ping me on my number, okay?